Shout out to everybody on Facebook that is locked on. It's now time for your morning trend, which is coming to the kind compliments of Rick's Cafe. Walk in, dance out. Remember, Rick's Cafe is open every day, delivery only from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. The last order has to be placed by 4:30. So right now, I gotta say a very special good morning to our son of the soil, Mr. Edson Mitchell, the Ajamu. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Master. Good morning, Scratch Master. Good morning to all the listeners, the viewers out there in Radio Lawn, TV Lawn.
Mm-hmm.
This is your son, Ajamu,
Yeah,
live from the McCann, top level studio.
I did not even realize that you were here for this amount this time. I honestly thought when I reached out to you that you were overseas.
Oh, man. Well, listen here. It's a misconception between both you and I because here what?
Mm-hmm.
I never thought you were here too, and actually, I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but I'm going to say it because I
Mm-hmm.
like to own up to my errors
Mm-hmm.
and hope that, I wouldn't make them again.
Right.
I never even knew that I've been hearing about Scratch Master for all this time.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea that this was the face behind Scratch Master. You know what I mean? So when I look at it, I know this brother, man. And
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were a brother as well. But listen, I've been here since 2013 when I
Mm-hmm.
moved back here and rebuilt the studio and everything. And I've been here ever since. So Grenada actually is based for me now.
Right. Well, that is interesting. Now, how are you managing within this whole pandemic, the lockdown, the restrictions and so on? How are you how are you coping with it?
Oh God, well, let me tell you something. Restriction, there is no restrictions on your thoughts, and your thinking,
Mm-hmm.
your intellect. So I kind of use this. I say this as a blessing, what I mean, because it's a blessing that I'm here actually in Grenada in Mama Ken at my studio, because I couldn't imagine me getting locked down anywhere else where
Mm.
I couldn't have access, to making music, because music is what really keeping me through this. If not for the ability to make music, produce music, come in studio and do this, I probably would get frustrated like a lot of people, because it's not easy getting locked down in a place by yourself for months, because I've been on lockdown long before Grenada been on lockdown. One, because of my health situation, and the doctors informed me early in the game that I am quite vulnerable to this COVID-19 disease.
Right.
So I had to take extra precaution to keep myself and shield myself from interacting with too much people out there. So I've been on lockdown for a pretty long time. But here what, Scratch Master, all the good that come out of this, in spite of all the frustration, because I had to deal with the death of my dad in the past month or so. My
Right.
dad passed away whilst he was down in lockdown, and it's impossible because no traveling. I couldn't go
Oh,
to
you couldn't
New
even
York,
go. Right, right.
and up to now we cannot get a burial for him and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
what happened is, I've been doing a lot of work in the past, for years, over a decade now. I had this album in the making. It's a reggae album. And for some reason, I just couldn't. I don't know what was holding me back, but I just couldn't come to the finish line with that. But here what? With all this time I got on my hand now, I had no other choice but to just, dig into my archives and the amount of material that I discovered. Some that I didn't even remember I have. Now
I
I
mean,
put my hand
stuff that you didn't release before. Is that what you're talking about?
unreleased unreleased stuff. And
Right.
I would say, I'm not exaggerating. I could put together 3 reggae albums of unreleased stuff, and I could put together another calypso soca album, maybe 1 or 2 stuff
Mm-hmm.
that I hadn't released. A lot of stuff that I even forget that that I
Right.
had even
Right.
there. And just because I had the time to go through, stuff, the archives and thing. And I was like, what? No, I need to get this out. And I think this is my chance. So what I did is I spent some time, and so I started mixing and remixing, and I am one mix away now from the completion of the reggae album entitled Nothing Without God. And
Mm-hmm.
right now, I've, I have, I think, 12 songs I will be putting on the album.
Right.
Already mixed 11 of those songs.
Right.
And the last song, you know, I was talking to my friend, Mr. Legs. You know, he's one of
Yeah,
our
yeah,
young producer. He's a good friend of mine. You know, and
right.
we interact. We speak every day, and we speak about production and mixing and all of those stuff. And I was explaining to him about my experience in the past. You know, because I learned engineering and production the old school way, you know, like mixing analog, working with the board and stuff like that. And I was walking to him through stuff like this. And
Hmm.
then it hit me and he said, well, I got one song left to mix. I wonder if I shouldn't just, go into mixing this one analog instead. And he
Right,
said, Jams, do that. You know what I mean?
right,
That's
right.
what he said, do that. And you know what? I was up like 4 o'clock the morning. I
Hmm.
came into the studio just to do a check on my line and all my hardware and everything like that. And guess what?
Mm.
From years ago, from talking about over a decade now since I've been mixing in the box, and you would know what in the box is.
It's a
Is,
lot easier.
is a lot easier, you know. And when I started patching cables and things like that, I was like, what? Most of the stuff still work perfect, you know what I mean? So
Right.
all I had to do was do a little bit cable repairs,
Yeah.
and now I
Hmm.
have a mix on the board now.
So you're ready.
I'm
Now,
excited about this.
let me ask you something. Is it easier? No, I know you do your reggae, right?
Mhm.
You're an avid reggae lover and so on. Is it easier for you to do reggae versus soca or calypso?
Yeah, reggae is a lot easier music to
What
produce.
makes reggae easier for you to do other than soca? And I mean, you have some serious classics that play today, yeah?
Yeah,
In the
that's true.
soca
But
genre.
one is reggae is a lot simpler music. You know,
Hmm.
it requires less, and less is more. Someone's calling me from outside, but I can't answer now.
Right.
Yeah, less is more. And reggae now, you get a groove going, you get a hook line, and that's it. And soca music, there's a lot more details. A lot, if one in writing them, you would have to do a lot of research on the topic that you choose to write on. You know, and there's a lot more. If you listen to soca music, there's a lot more going on in soca music than in reggae music. So it would take me maybe a day to do something, worthwhile in as
Hmm.
in reggae genre. It
Hmm.
it probably take me 2 days to put all the music, all the pieces together.
So
So if that answer your questions.
right. Let me find out something from you. I mean, you've taken part in competition. You've
Mm-hmm,
won numerous competitions, right?
mm-hmm.
Now we all know that Spice Mass has been canceled, right?
Yes.
It's officially canceled because of COVID-19, with promises to be bigger and even better next year. Now,
Mm-hmm,
seeing that you've taken part in competition and you're very much familiar with Spice Mass because you've had a significant contribution to the art form, what do
mm-hmm.
you think could be done to improve the product of Spice Mass here in Grenada
Um,
to
we got
make
to
it bigger and better?
we got to broaden our scope because actually I think Spice Mass is big. We got the mass participation. Oh God, someone is calling and they are distracting me. Yeah, we got mass participation in terms of people coming from all over. I think Grenada, Spice Mass is big, it's huge.
Right.
But we need to broaden our scope and in making what we have more appealing, to people because we don't just want people coming here. When they come in here, this the experience that they should have. It should be one that makes them cannot wait to come back next year and to bring a friend and to bring a crew. And when we say that, we're not talking about just our native, we're talking about foreigners who we refer to as tourists. So we want to do that. And sometimes it's just take planning, how to keep the thing more interesting. I mean, yes, we got Jab and all of that. And Jab is a very interesting part of our culture. But
Yes.
Jab is not all we got. So how about the steel band? How about starting to think about putting more bands on the road, more live bands, use more live musicians, more live entertainers,
Mhm.
doing more real things so people could see exactly what we have, in our culture,
Right.
how we present our stuff. So
Mhm.
there is a lot that should be done. Um, I don't know if you could just give me a minute. Let me just because they keep
All
calling. All right.
right. All right. I tell you, we're speaking with Edson Mitchell,
No.
the Ajamu. He's going to be
I'm on
somebody
an
just
interview. I'm doing something. I can't come now.
somebody. I tell you, some people just have some kind of timing. Anyway, it is the morning trend. We go to the kind
Okay.
of Rick's Cafe, and I see Ajamu is back and ready to join me
Yeah,
again. All
yeah.
right.
Thank you. That was my brother, and you know he kind of because he hadn't seen me for the morning. I guess you want to make sure
Oh,
I'm all
make
right.
sure. All right.
Yeah.
Something I want to find out as well. Also with Spice Mass being cancelled, do you think that artists, soca artists, should continue to put out music as normal? Right? Do you
I,
think that they should?
I think so because this is a heck of a time for entertainers, not just soca artists, but yes, I mean I don't know if people thinking about it, but
Hmm.
this is gonna have devastating effect on local artists, not just local. No, I shouldn't say local, and entertainers in general, and we more than anybody else because listen, what the big thing about this is no social gathering. So even though businesses open up and you could put on your mask, you could do this and you could go to the grocery and get your stuff, you could go and shop and things like that. But in my little bit of common sense I have, I don't see how it's going to be pretty soon before we would allow this mass gathering, which is
Right.
what we depend on for entertainment. We want a big crowd, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's going to be a long term kind of thing.
Hmm.
And for the people like myself, who, if people not recording, you know, uh, then, you know, there's nothing
My
much to
thing
do.
is, my thing is that I always believe that sometimes we make the genre soca a seasonal one,
Thank you.
right?
And it
Because
shouldn't be.
we wait until a carnival comes around to release soca music. I mean,
Hmm.
all right, everybody's in a pandemic right now. The whole world is in a pandemic right now. But if it is you watch the other genres, dancehall is still coming out. Hip
Yes.
hop is still coming out. You know, it isn't tied to a competition like a soca monarch, and it isn't tied to necessarily a season, meaning carnival. So
Right.
for me, it would be interesting to see. All right, what date is it today? Today is what, May the 14th?
Today is the 14th.
To see how much soca comes out, even though there is not a spice mass.
Hmm.
Because in one breath, some people want to be vexed and say, "Oh, you don't play soca music, blah blah blah." I mean, although we are a new music station, but if it is you're not feeding the masses. And I'll tell you something. I mean, a lot of people are home right now. You notice everybody's on
Thank you.
Instagram and so on.
Thank
So
you.
there is an audience that is going to be receptive
Thank
for
you.
new music.
Yeah, well, of course, I was waiting now for me to comment on that a little bit because
Mm.
I think that the artists, we as artists, we should use this as a springboard. You know what I mean? Because we have so much time on our hand now. It means that we can spend time with our material, and we could get it done right, and be ready for when things get normalized. You know what I mean? So I think that is the approach that artists should take. And one again, it's a form of keeping yourself, in the loop, so to speak. So it's not like you're on vacation with your craft. So you'd keep working. So I think that we should continue, and even for the carnival period, because we may not be able to have the general celebration out there on the road as we do because the carnival canceled.
Right.
But on the radio, we can have a lot of fun. Even through what you're doing here now, artists could be
Exactly.
invited to perform live. I could do a live thing here from a studio and perform for the
Hmm.
people and entertain, and we could be presenting our new materials for the people. So I suggest that why not? Let's just do it. Let's just make music, man.
Hmm. Yeah, because I've heard a couple artists say that, it normally when they release a song, there's a cost to producing a song,
Hmm.
right? And
It's
for some
true.
of them, they make the bulk of their money from performing. So
Hmm.
in their estimate, they don't want to put themselves in more expense, additional expense, if they cannot service the records that they are releasing. That's the
That
argument being from some artists.
that's a valid argument. And as we on that, I would say this because I've been listening and trying to follow up. And I notice here and in America, right? And they give what you call the stimulus and all of that to help people who've been affected by this virus. Okay, well, I heard certain things being placed, put in place, certain benefits for the hotels and people, the stakeholders. All
Hmm.
right.
Hmm.
Well, I think that it's about time that we get serious about entertainment here, and that is why it's so important for us to really try to establish a music industry here, where we have a union and people who can represent the musicians. Because I mean, there are a lot of us as musicians who actually depend on our craft or our musical talent, to earn a living and to take care of our families. And with this now, where we gone now on this lockdown, and there's nothing. So I think that okay, let me, because I'm trying to keep with what you say about artists and not being able to furnish the funds and stuff to get their music produced. Well,
Hmm.
how about a little stimulus towards that from the government, from culture, to say, well, okay, just as I know in Carnival they will be giving out subventions and so to the Calypso tents, and things like that. Well, how about you? I know you got to put a limitation on it because Grenada is not a very wealthy place.
Hmm.
But how about providing some assistance to people who may want to do recording? And what I would assume that it wouldn't be on a general sense, because there are some people that you may have to vet them in terms of where you put in the money. Is that the song, the material that this person is going to be using the money for? Is it going to make any sense, any difference in terms of benefits for the culture in general? So I don't mind if you have to go through a process where they got to vet and analyze what you're trying to do with the monies. But I
Right.
think maybe some assistance could be provided in that area. So
Hmm.
that could eliminate, well, yeah, because the brother ain't making the money because he's not working, but here he is trying to contribute and keep
Yeah,
the vibes going.
because you have a lot of artists here locally that would have been performing at the various hotels and so on, doing weddings and all these different things,
Mm-hmm.
and contributing to the art form.
That's
Now,
right.
I consider you a veteran in this thing, right? What
Mm-hmm.
would you say is the biggest difference with the soca industry, say back in the 90s to now?
Well, a lot changed.
And
Uh,
would you say the change is for the better or not?
Well, for the most, I think some of it is for better, but it goes both ways, because now it economically it makes a lot more sense. It's making a lot more sense now
Hmm.
for people, artists, because an artist could win 1 million in a show. He could become a millionaire by taking part in a soccer contest.
Mm.
And we're not talking about places like Trinidad.
Not in Grenada.
No, 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 no. Well, that's what I specifically
There,
say.
$1 million here. Mhm.
And I think that we need to get there, because here what we are the people, master, who
Mhm.
we don't really get to retire. And look, this is a living proof right here of it, because look at this COVID-19 thing. We don't have nothing to go back to. You know what I mean? We work
Right.
until we cannot work again. And what those of us who smart enough to put something away, and we do so, this is
Hmm.
what we would be able to fall back on. No, no retirement, no nothing like that. We don't get
Right.
no. So it's important that Grenada start looking in those ways where you could secure, because why you gonna call me a legend? You just refer to me as a legend, all right?
Well,
And
I know the people on Facebook will agree with me. What
oh
you
yeah,
trying
and I think so too. I think so too, and I want to agree as well. But here what?
Mm,
This legend that you're talking about, I'm gonna tell you a story, and this might break your heart. I'm
mm,
gonna tell you a story. Now, about almost 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome, and I don't know, for the people, they could research it. GBS is the short for it. You could research it.
hmm.
But the disease that do a work on you, you know what I mean? And your immune system,
Right.
it affects your whole system. So you lose a lot of stuff. I'm very fortunate that I'm almost 90, I would say 90+% back, which
Right.
would say that not much people would get back to normal when you go
Okay.
through those things. Well, here what? Me, I've been a vibrant producer, entertainer. I've been touring. I've been doing stuff.
Hmm.
Well, for 4 years now, I've been unable to do this. The reason why I'm back here, just in lockdown, I could be anywhere in Virginia because that's where my family is. I got a decent home there and comfortable, and I could be there. But here what? Grenada is a place where the doctors recommend for me to stay here because of the climate and everything, the environment. I could go take a sea bath is good for me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm here, but I cannot. I don't have no income, brother. You
Mhm.
know, I as a legend who is sitting here, and I've been living on my savings for going on 4 years now, having
Right.
to pay my bills every month. But
Mhm.
yet, for all, the carnival come around. All right, it comes around, and I noticed that for the past 3 years, the carnival comes around. Which carnival, as we know, is the biggest cultural. Is the biggest any kind of event. I mean, is the biggest stage that we get. All
That
right.
is true. And
How
audience
could
as
you
well.
tell me? How could you be referring to people as a legend? I mean, I got 3+ decades in this thing. In terms of what I've been doing, my contribution and representing Grenada all over the world as a cultural ambassador. You
Right.
know, of someone who was awarded many awards, like an MB from the Queen of England. I had official status long
Yeah.
before.
Right.
You know, and
Mhm.
yet for all you telling me I'm capable of performing.
Right.
Everybody knows that.
Yes.
Yet for all, the carnival season come, and you have the biggest stage, the March Gras Soca Monarch, all the semifinals and all that. You cannot see a spot in there to invite your legend, the same person you call a legend and refer to as this stalwart. You cannot find
Mhm.
a place to insert them in there, and I'm talking about me now, because
Right.
this goes for everybody, but let me say me. You
Mhm.
cannot find a space to insert me and say, let's put a Ajamu day and give him $20,000, you know what I mean? And so he could be able to pay his bills for a period of time.
Right.
Nothing like that. But yet, for all, when you're talking me as legend. Well, how does the legend survive? Because he doesn't have an income. But yet, for all, you find people from Trinidad, they come down and you see them making appearances. And
Mhm.
those same shows that I'm talking about, and
Mhm.
they're paying them thousands of dollars. I think something is definitely wrong with our thinking. And I think we gotta change those things. And I'm saying this so that when after I gone, I'm a fallen tree right now. Okay?
Mhm.
I'm a fallen tree. I here to support and give advice to those younger people and help them in whatever way I could. But I
Yeah.
know I am going over the hill. I'm past my 50s. I'm in my mid
Mhm.
50s going down the road. So
Mhm.
I ain't dumb. I ain't stupid. I know what's going down.
Mhm.
But I am saying this now that somebody's gonna wake up. So in the future, our grandchildren, they I know in Trinidad, let me tell you, I go to Trinidad all the time. And when I go to Trinidad, one thing I do is I take a ride down to South San Fernando to
Yeah.
visit Uncle
The
Stalin.
area.
Right?
Mhm.
Uncle
Mhm.
Stalin. Yeah, because Stalin, I call him Uncle. And a lot of those guys. But what I do, and I'm saying this because I know I have proof of it. Stalin and much of those guys you hear face these little problems, these health problems, because
Right.
of the contribution that they had made
Mhm.
into culture.
Mhm.
They are in a position now where the family can collect a monthly something from the government. All
Oh,
right.
in
Yes,
Trinidad.
in Trinidad, right there. That I'm not
Interesting.
saying this because I don't know. I know that.
Right. 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 Right.
So, yeah, because of what he's going through, so he has a
Mhm.
monthly something coming in from government. Well,
Yeah.
we need to set those things in place because we just not need to say that okay, well, a jam, and then you're gonna wait, and when I die, you're gonna give me a state funeral. But yet, for all, my
Yeah.
family would be broken.
Mhm.
I've seen it many ways, and I'm not dissing. I appreciate all that they have done for Kirani, for Junior Murray, for Talpri, whoever the government gives such and such to. Well, I
Right.
think Jamu, if you refer to me as an icon, I think the same should be given to me and other people. I can't even find something here to do.
Right.
Something here to do to say, well, okay, just enough so I could pay my bills. So you know what happened, Scratch Master? I
Mhm.
am seriously thinking now about packing up and move again, which is a
Mhm.
painful thing for me to do. But I came here, rebuild this studio. You see, it's a state-of-the-art studio, and
Right.
hoping that I would help to establish and turn the music industry around.
Mhm.
There's no sequel.
I totally get where you're saying with
You get it? I hope people get
especially
it.
yeah, on Facebook they're getting it. Trust me, I could see the
Thank
comments
you very much.
on Facebook. I think that more could be done to acknowledge those that paved the way for the artists of today with what they're doing. Because if it wasn't for artists like yourself and Inspector and the others,
That's right.
there wouldn't be any Natty and Thunders and and so
Thank
on and
you.
so forth,
And
right?
saying Natty and Thunder,
Mm-hmm.
I could bring up a newspaper clipping
Mm-hmm.
with myself and Natty
Oh yeah.
because I mentor him. Yes, he was one of my students. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I've been recording him, and I have newspaper clipping where we in the studio working and stuff like that. I don't even know if he remembers that,
He
but
ain't
I
go for.
have those clippings that I have them in my house.
Mm-hmm.
And how what I wanted to say, because you mentioned something, and I say, how does someone like African Teller, a
Mm-hmm.
bubbler,
Mm-hmm.
passed away, and the nation didn't even know that they had a health problem, that they were sick? It's
Right.
because we're not paying attention,
Mm-hmm.
and I think those things need to change. And don't wait. I hate the idea of when somebody die and then you pass around with a hat or a box begging for something. No, put something in there for them. So you know what? Nobody has to know that. When
Right.
this man die, okay, the government get in contact with them. They say, well, such and such. You may not know this, but the government had this in place so we could take
Right.
care of husband's funeral. You know,
All
these are the
right.
kind of things we need, brother.
On a little lighter note, I have one more question for you because we're about to wrap up now, right?
Okay.
I'm putting you on the spot now.
Mhm.
Now you have a vast catalog. As a matter of fact, when the person was knocking on the door, somebody on Facebook said there must be thinking open up the door, let me come in. Right? Right?
Open up the door.
Yeah. If you had to choose one song, Soca, out of your catalog that you have as your favorite, which one would it be?
Okay, you're saying soca.
Soca. If you had to choose one of your Soca songs,
You're talking about the soca like that playing in the party. You're not talking about calypso.
not calypso, I'm talking about Soca
Okay,
for you,
Mr. Music, Mr. Music.
Mr. Music.
Yeah, Mr. Music.
All right. Nah, I tell you, you have some serious classics, man. What
Thank you.
serious,
I
serious.
think I do too, but you asked me for one. Otherwise, I call an album for you.
Oh, you call an album?
I'll give you an album.
All right, Ajamu, I tell you, it was a pleasure speaking with you this morning, and I'm glad that you shed light on so many different things that I believe probably some people probably forgot about and now they remember, right?
Mhm.
And once again, thanks for your contribution to the art form, right?
Yes,
Trust me, there are a lot of people that they haven't forgotten,
Mhm.
right? And I suppose this interview would serve as a reminder,
I,
you know,
I, I hope so. But
you know.
listen, Scratch, I want to say thanks for inviting me to do this, and I thank
Mhm,
my friend Mr. Legs. He's a beautiful
mhm.
young man. This man is smart.
Yeah.
And I welcome this because Scratch Master. As I said, I didn't even know that you were here. But what I learned, and I hadn't
Mm,
spoken to you about this, but I learned that you are an accomplished mixer, song engineer as well.
mhm,
So now that I know you're here in Grenada, and my
mhm,
thing is, I
mhm.
like to associate myself with the best. All right. So I got a lot going on here, at times,
Mhm.
and I think I would like to invite you
Right.
to come and spend a couple hours with me in your spare time. You could call me. We could talk about it, because now I have your contact. And
Definitely keep in
I am on
contact.
a project now. I am
Right.
on a project right now, and this project I'm doing, it's
Mhm,
a project for the world, but
mhm,
it's under the Grenada umbrella. And the title of the piece is "Let Compassion Reign," and this is something that is going to address what's going on now with COVID-19, and how we could things we can do to help not go back to the same old thing after this is over, but we could make this world a better place.
All right.
And I was able to tap into about 30 of our performers, our singers, local singers
Mhm.
that I have performing on this track. And it's a really nice project, and I was thinking, I wondering if you probably would have the time to come and sit with me sometimes, maybe
For
just
sure.
listen to the mix and so, and
I'll make the time. I'll reach out to you and we will definitely make it happen. All right.
that would be, I mean, I would be happy with that.
All right.
So
Once
we're
again.
going to stay in touch. Thanks again for having me. And to all the listeners, all the onlookers out there, this
Mhm,
is a Jamu, King Man Love.
mhm.
Listen, I have a lot in store. As I say, when Corona gone,
Mm.
Jamu on the road again. Can't wait for that.
Thanks very much, man.
Thank you, brother.
Stay
May God
safe.
bless you.
All right. That
Peace
was a
out.
jam on Power 95 inside of your morning trend. Shed a lot of Very good information. All right. That came to the kind compliments of Rick's Cafe. Don't forget, Rick's Cafe is open every day from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. All right. Make sure you check them out. Place your orders before 4:30 p.m. All right. It's pickup only. Keep it locked on the Power 95. We have a whole lot more coming up.